Done. Okay, this morning we have BRIE MAYO with us. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good, good, good. You got. I can hear a strong accent there. Where precisely are you?
California.
Okay, nice. I lived in California for a short while in San Diego, which
Nice.
was nice. Many moons ago when I had some hair. Not so much here now. But anyway, this isn't about me. This is all about you. So please tell us a bit about yourself, BRIE.
Yeah. My name is Brianna Mayo. I live in Central California, and my birthday's coming up in February, actually, February 1st. I will be 35 years old. I'm currently on the job market. I have 10 years of experience doing HR and talent acquisition. And I was previously just let go from my job back in August, and I'm looking for a new opportunity. And right now, while I'm not currently working, I've been volunteering helping the elderly people. There's this app called the Papa app, and you do get a little bit of money to be helping out, people that are either disabled or elderly, either cleaning their houses and stuff like that. And I've also volunteered my time with a entertainment company called Digital Nomad. They are a seed startup that is creating a video game called New Moons, and it's really exciting. It's very Des- Destiny-esque, I would say. And it's really exciting, but it is, a volunteer position. They needed people to help recruit for designers, also, their finance team and stuff like that. So I've been keeping busy and then also being a mom. I'm actually in my car right now trying to drop my kid off at gymnastics.
There we are. Sorry, little one. It's your mum. Your mum's doing a podcast.
Right. I don't think she knows what a podcast is, but she's happy. She's eating Taco Bell before gymnastics, so she'll be all set.
Yeah, she's all good then. Okay, all right. So, thanks for the transparency on that. So you're in between work at the moment, and there's a lot of people that relate to that, and maybe struggling to find new work or a bit anxious about what the future may hold. But what I like about what you're doing is you're not sitting idle. You're doing lots of things with that time. Even volunteering will pay off. Is it down to your nature, or is it also down to your knowledge of HR?
I think it's kind of a little bit of both. I mean, I just I don't want to stay idle for too long. If I do, obviously, depression will kick in, or what are you going to do around your house? Honestly, if you're not working for so long, and you can only get so many rejection emails um, until you're like, I want to give up. So this is kind of me keeping busy and trying to not go down like the depression rabbit hole.
Yeah. How long have you been unemployed for, if you don't mind me asking?
Since August
Okay,
2024. Yeah, so
it's a fair whack then. And how does it affect you, or how has it affected you?
Um, I mean, obviously, not having a job, not having really a stable income. I am unemployment, but unemployment's very little here. In California, it's about $900 every 2 weeks. So again, I have bills to pay, so it essentially covers my bills. It doesn't cover much else.
And what about the effect on you? Has it affected you at all?
Um, I mean, yeah, obviously, just struggling a lot of the times to even get the courage to even like not courage, but just the energy to apply for anything really. After you get rejected, so many times, you're like, that's exactly what I was doing at my previous company. How are you saying that you reviewed my resume and I'm not like it's not a match? I'm like, it doesn't make sense. But knowing being in HR, I do know that I am like one in like 3 to 4 thousand people looking for a job. When I before I was let go, I was recruiting for an HR position, and we had about 4,000 resumes. So knowing that I'm not just one person applying, to a small group, there are thousands of people, and then you essentially narrow it down to maybe 20 to 30 people that you interview. And then from there, I'm like, so I'm just one person, and it's like it's a lottery essentially, but it's a lottery that you kind of have to play if you want to, continue to have a life and, be able to pay bills and stuff like that. So, but it does get pretty discouraging. And that I think that's why I was making keeping myself busy as much as I can.
Yeah, that's good. I think listening to what you're saying there, what you get is you get a bit of rejection fatigue. You know,
Yes,
when the
exactly.
email comes up with a request to inform you, you've been it's the same every time. You know, um,
Exactly.
and especially when in you, as you quite rightly said, your rationale is that you do match, you're ticking the boxes in the most part. You know,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people that experience that and they don't understand it. But I think what you've done well there, and it's also how I try to help people deal with rejection fatigue, is explaining the other side of the fence. Let's just say that four, 4,000 is a lot of applications, but even if there was just 50, okay,
Yeah.
it only takes one of them to be a better match for what that company's looking
Exactly.
for than you. And so there's lots of people with the same experience and the same skill set. Okay, and
Exactly.
if just a little something that's they're in that exact sector, they're cheaper, well, they live right next door, whatever it may be, which just means they're a better option for them rather than you.
Yeah.
But it's
Exactly.
a bit like a blind auction though, because as the applicants, you don't know that, you don't see that.
Yeah. And I mean, being a recruiter, I am aware. It's one of those things where like you are one in, like I said, 3 to 4,000, especially right now in the job market in the US. It's pretty hard for talent and HR people positions right now.
Okay, I didn't know that about the current lay of the land in the US, but I will pick on something on which I know is quite divisive, and I apologise in advance.
Okay.
But with the politics, okay, which yeah, your face said it all just then. Um, but it doesn't matter if you for me, it doesn't matter pro or against either
Yeah.
party. That's not the issue there. What I'm interested in is, do you see that there's a potential upside now that there's a bit of a change in that situation for you?
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, but it's also only been one day since Trump has been inaugurated. So I'm hoping, for my sake, that it does open a lot more jobs opportunities, and people are, less on the edge because before it was more like, well, should we open things? They don't know what the outcome was going to be. Like if they ended up hiring during the Biden administration, was something going to change during the Trump administration? So now that Trump is in, I'm thinking that things can kind of get back to normal, and I mean normal. Um, and people can feel more at ease at opening job positions now instead of having to be in this like weird transition of power. um
That makes sense because with that uncertainty, people don't sign on the dotted line. It's a bit like COVID years and what have you. If you don't know what's coming, then everything halts, everything stalls. So you'll
yeah,
get a relative normality. But do you feel there's a bit of optimism out there now?
you know what, I have yet to see it, but I am trying to be optimistic about it. I feel like there should be great opportunity for that, but only time will tell. I'm hoping by February, we will be able to tell a little bit more. After people kind of get over the shock or whatever is going on in the States.
But by your birthday, it'd be a nice little birthday present, a little bit of a shift in the market, and you start getting your interviews again, and then you'll be a
Exactly.
high commodity. You can take your pick from whichever you choose.
Yeah, I know Q1 for a lot of people, is in January for a lot of companies. But with it being an election year, I feel like things might have slowed down and been like, hey, well, Q1 is in January. We're going to try to push things back till after the inauguration. And then my previous company I was at, their Q1 is actually in February. So essentially, I'm hoping that people kind of get their act together by February, after things have been, settled down a little bit.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, all right. So let's talk about your volunteering you're doing. What was the name of that app again?
It's called Papa.
Papa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
And is it worldwide or is it a US thing?
I think it's US based. I'm not sure if it's worldwide, but it's pretty cool. It's essentially like care.com where you could, do babysitting for care.com. But it's just again for elderly people that are needing help with like house chores, even, trips to like the dentist or medical appointments or anything like that. It really just ranges from everything. And you do like maybe 2 to 4 hours depending on the client. And it's been rewarding. You meet some really cool people. My first one was actually shoveling sand um, outside this person's backyard because they had cats and their cats were using the sand as a litter box. And they're like, we need to get this away from our back door. Can you just kind of put it all across the lawn to hopefully make the mud and the sand make like an adobe type thing and like a walkway because they were older and they had chickens and stuff like that. So that was my first thing. I shoveled sand for 4 hours. That was that was my first volunteer. It was like 30 minutes away from where I live, but yeah, it was, it was rewarding. They were really sweet people, and they can't do all that stuff because they're a little older, and shoveling sand was a it was a pain on my back. I can't imagine them trying to do it.
Yeah, nice. So it's whatever needs to be done, isn't it? And if they can't do it, they need the assistance. So that's good. I'll check that out. So,
Yeah.
Papa, I'll check that out and see if that's there for people here in Australia because there's a lot of the community of the listeners to here which do a lot of volunteering as well, which is nice. Is it something that you feel should be on your CV?
That is something that I have put on like my project side of my CV because it is something that doesn't really match obviously with my career with HR, but it is something that I have put in like my experience and to let people know that I've been doing that. I just wanted to fill that gap of unemployment essentially that they're like, well, what have you been doing since you've been on unemployment for X amount of months? I'm like, well, I've actually been keeping busy. Like I do want to work and I'll be a really hard worker if you hire me. Here's the examples of what I've been doing.
Yeah, nice. That's smart. Okay, and tell us about this game that you've been working on.
Yeah, it's Digital Nomad is the company, and New Moons is the game that they're working on. It's on Steam right now as beta testing, and it's going to be released. I'm not sure when, but hopefully soon. It's definitely a lot. I'm not sure if you've played Destiny. I compare it to Destiny a little bit, mainly because of the coloring of the game. It has a lot of blue and purple hues to it. Obviously, it takes place in space, and it's an exploration of a planet and its four moons. So it's a first person shooter. There is also a multiplayer mode as well. It's really exciting. And yeah, I love the team. We all work on Discord together. So it's a really small like seed startup. We don't really have too much things. Working directly with Discord on their servers, and it's pretty exciting. I've been hiring 3D artists, level designers. Currently, going to be working on the marketing team and the finance team.
Yeah, nice. And just so post your birthday, so you go out, you celebrate, you have some fun, turn in another year around the sun, and you go and get yourself employment. You're doing a job that you love. Are you going to keep those other components in your life as well?
I think so. I mean, I really do like what I do, and I think that if it doesn't distract from my work, depending on how busy I am, what the job is, I think I could find time for that. The Papa app might be a little bit difficult because a lot of the things are like in the morning around like 10 a.m. to like noon. So I feel like that would be harder to keep on, just because those are in the middle of working hours. They don't have things usually like 5 p.m. or later, which makes sense because um, people, elderly people, they all kind of have dinner around that time and are ready to, either go to bed or not do much. So that I would like to. I think it really depends. Maybe on the weekends if it's available. But the weekends are, I think, the most coveted spots, and they get out really, really fast.
There we are. So the volunteering is in high demand at certain times. Okay, all right. So based on your experience in the HR space and your lived experience now, what would be your biggest bit of advice to for people that are in a similar situation to you now?
Oh gosh, try to be as optimistic as possible, and don't let any all the rejection letters get to your head, honestly. I mean, it's hard not to. Like, I have been where I'm like, you know what, I'm not doing it. I took a break during Christmas because I was like, reality is no one's wanting to work during Christmas. I mean, being in Australia, I'm sure you're aware, you guys have the right mindset of like taking like the last week or 2 weeks off of December. A lot of people end up, just kind of cruising through work. Here in the States, we usually work through the holidays. When I was working with my previous company, we were actually founded in Australia. And we kind of kept that mentality. But the US part, we're like, well, no one's working. Our Australian counterparts and our UK counterparts, they're like, it's the holidays. We don't want to be working during, Boxing Day or anything like that. Like, no. So I think um, me taking a break was kind of more reminiscent of the people I used to work with in Australia, where they're like, you know what, no one's doing anything. They're all kind of not to rock the boat. You don't want to do anything that you don't have to do. So I was like, I'm just not going to apply because most likely I'm not going to hear anything from anyone during the holiday season. So I resumed back in January to kind of keep my sanity from, not hearing back after I applied the day after Christmas. Like, obviously, I'm not going to hear back for a while.
It's interesting you say that because here in Australia, I'm British, by the way, Australian passport as well. But it's a big culture shock to me around Christmas because what happens is they've got a celebration day on the 26th of January, which is Australia
Mhm.
Day. Okay.
Yeah,
So yes, people take their time off for Christmas, New Year, so you've got that block. But most decision makers, and you'll get this from the HR point, don't come back to after 26th. So
yeah,
it's a massive break where no one starts, no contracts go out. So they sporadically do, but
exactly.
overall, everyone comes back after the 26th and try to recoup on lost budgets and forecasts, chase their tail somewhat for the rest of the quarter on a short month in February. So it's manic, and a lot of people here wish it was more like the American way, where they can actually get stuff done, and they can't because no one's about.
That's really funny because I think a lot of us Americans really wish we were just adapted the Australian way of things. Honestly, at least I do, and I know a lot of people that I worked with did too. So,
There we are. It's interesting. Okay, all right. So just as we wrap up now, what would be if someone's listening to this, they like you, they'd like to have a conversation with you about HR, employment, or even some advice. What would be the best way for them to reach out to you?
oh gosh, LinkedIn is always a great way. Because things don't get sent to spam. But my email address works great too. It's Breezely at gmail.com, BRIEZZLY at gmail.com. Yeah. And then, but yeah, I would say LinkedIn is probably the best bet, mainly just because things don't get lost in spam. And when you're applying to several jobs and stuff like that, putting your email out there and your phone number out there, you get a lot of spam.
Yeah,
A lot of spam. I've been scammed almost. People have attempted to scam me with jobs like about 6 times so far. And
mm.
I've let the companies know. So like, you have to be really careful with
You
that
do
as
need to
well.
be careful. I think when we publish this, it'd be a good idea to put your LinkedIn profile in the chat comments
Yeah.
below, and that would probably serve you quite well, and others, of course.
Yeah. Awesome.
Brilliant. Okay, listen, thank you very much for your time,
Of course.
and hopefully your daughter enjoys her gymnastics.
Oh, she will. It's her favorite hobby that she has.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you did enjoy it, had lots of takeaways from it. As before, please subscribe below so you can keep on top of any new releases we have. And also, if you would like to have your story told, just reach out with me and I'd love to give you that platform. My best email address is tom@purplepatchconsulting.com. Thank you.